Go flat tracker. Go flat tracker. Go, go, go.
Collab and Flat Track Pod brought to you by our partners. ShredDesign.co. If you're looking for the sickest jersey prints in the biz, look no further than ShredDesign.co on Facebook. Euroka Fencing, the place to go for all your rural fencing needs. Classic wheel spokes, Otway Hydro Blasting, make your old girl look new again. Plus, our newest partner, MX Inc. Do you want your bike to stand out in the crowd with custom graphics done by the best? Then contact Luca and the team at MX Inc. And last but not least, Clava, keeping you on track for longer. Now, onto the episode.
Go flat tracker. Go flat tracker. Go, go, go.
Okay, so here we go. Welcome to another I just about mucked it up. The Clava Flat Track Pod. I've got the boys from the Dutch Flat Track joining me finally for a recap and a catch up. But this time I've got the whole team, which is fantastic. Which is Richard, Roger, and Michael. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me. 7 o'clock your time in the Netherlands. I'm not sure exactly where you all are, so maybe just a quick intro. Starting with Roger. We know your name there, Roger. Just where you are and what position you play in the Dutch flat track.
I'm at a little village in the south of Holland. My role in the Dutch flat track is how do you say that? Chief buying. So I'm make sure there's champagne for the prize giving. Looking up several things for the sound systems, everything. Do the timing with transponders, that sort of things.
Yeah,
and
okay,
it's growing, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it's my first year. And, I had a lot of fun and a lot of stress also, but it was okay. Yeah.
What before we move on, what timing system do you use over there?
It's called MyLabs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we use here as well.
Yeah, I think it's worldwide inmiddels.
Yeah. We've also got another mob for our Australian flat track series that use they're called Compute Time. It's a road racing system. So I'm not sure. I think the promoter went with them because he has a lot to do with road racing teams and stuff. So I think that's why we went with them. But most of our normal dirt track clubs use MyLabs. Yeah. So okay, moving on to Michael. Thanks for that, Roger.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you said dirt track. Is it like grass track racing?
So dirt track over here is just a different wheel configuration. So 21 front and 18 or 19 rear. And we use mainly motocross tyres on the front and trials tyres on the back. So there's a bit of a separation now, which at first people would call dirt track flat track, but now we've got the American setup as well running. So it's easier to say sort of Australian dirt track and flat track, and then people know what you're talking about. It's a bit confusing. We're not like most other countries where they just run the one setup on the 19s.
All right. Yeah, I started racing when I was 5 years old, I think. And I started my first flat track race 2010. Then 2016 I switched over because I started with grass track racing, what you call dirt track. We call it grass track here. We also ride on grass tracks, clay tracks, gravel tracks, and on some tracks, on gravel tracks, we use also a trial tire in the rear.
Yeah.
But most of the time we use enduro tires, 19 or 18 inch in the rear.
Yeah.
So I did that until 2016, and then I started with World Cup, UK series, a lot of races.
Yeah.
And now since 2020, I think, or 2022, I think, yeah, we started with this flat track, with organizing races. I'm doing a lot behind the scenes with social media things. So, yeah, this is our third year now organizing the races.
Awesome. Yeah, and do you find being behind the scenes rather than just I'm assuming you're still racing as well?
Sorry?
I'm assuming you're still racing as well.
Yeah,
How do
yeah,
you find being behind the scenes as well? It's a lot of work, and does it affect
yeah.
your
And
racing at
also,
all?
I'm also giving lessons on the Royal Enfield bikes. I have the Royal Enfield Slide School. Maybe you know it.
Okay. Yeah.
The slide school started in the USA. Now there's in the UK a slide school, in Italy, and I'm doing it in the Benelux, in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's that was one of my notes here actually that I noticed you now have the Royal Enfield Cup. We'll move on to that in a minute.
yeah, yeah.
And just Richard, if you wouldn't mind just reintroducing yourself as well.
Yeah, of course. Been racing for 6, 7 years now. Well, started Dutch Flat Track together with Michael. Well, of course, the people that saw our previous podcast together might know a bit more about my history, but yeah, just racing for a hobby, which grew into organizing as well. Now trying to combine the stuff. Basically, what we're trying to do, jiggle everything and try to make it work. Yeah, and third year, almost closing down the third year now. End of September, we have our final race. Yeah, pretty happy with how things are going until now.
Yeah, awesome. So the last one's excuse my ignorance on pronunciations and everything. Laestad, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you're
So
half
that's
Dutch, so you should be able to pronounce this.
oh yeah, I know. I'm very unpracticed half Dutch. Yeah, so that's the fifth round. So it's obviously a 5 round series. I can't remember last time if when we were talking, was it 5 rounds then? Has anything changed there?
Well, we grew a bit to 5 rounds. We did 4 in the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
Basically, what you see, of course, Netherlands is tiny to say the least, especially compared to
Yeah.
Australia or USA. So the surrounding countries also have some flat track races.
Yeah.
And you see that there's a group of people that move around those races. So they travel across border to go to those races. Like, for instance, we have a lot of German riders who come to our race. And we have some Dutch riders amongst the three of us as well, who travel
France.
to France, Germany, UK. We try to make a habit of it to go to Spain to do some practice in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So that's basically how we try to move around Europe to do some flat tracking.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so Michael, in the time that you started the Dutch flat track, have you seen a big change in the amount of riders turning up? Do you think? Do you think it's growing?
Yeah, back in 2010, you must be happy if you have 10 riders.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, last year, our first race in Roden, we had 100 riders. So
Oh,
that
excellent.
that was awesome. But, yeah, after the first race, you see it's lowered a bit sometimes. So we don't have 100 riders every race, but still we have more than 50 every race. So that's good.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's still growing.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. And did you use the same venues, or have you changed some of the venues now since previous years?
Yeah, we use the same. We always have Siddeburen with the TT track.
Yeah,
So we always have one TT track in our series. We try to do a race at Noorderloos next to Utrecht next year again. Yeah, that's not a real track, but we try to make the most of it and make it a good race. But yeah, we're still looking for more tracks, more in the south of Holland also. But
yeah, cool.
most of
So
the time we have the same tracks. Yeah.
just I don't mind who answers this one. Just run me through what classes you've got now.
Yeah,
You
we
got a
have
minute?
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Sunday Cup on the mini bikes. We have the Royal Enfield Cup with my bikes, which I use for lessons.
Yeah.
The Scram 411. We have the newbie class, the youth class, rookie class, intermediate, pro, thunder bike, vintage. If we have we have enough riders for hooligan. We have a hooligan class
Oh, wow.
with the twin bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think.
Yeah, right. So I think
Is
there's
that,
a
is
couple
that enough?
new ones. Yeah, I think
Is
there's a
that
couple
enough?
new ones in there. You had Thunderbike is the one I was trying to think of before, Roger. Yeah, I think you had that last time I spoke to you, Richard. Sounds like you added hooligans, and I can't remember you having vintage. Am I right on that? So vintage a new one as well.
No, vintage was already there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But what you see is that in our first year we had to combine most of the times the classes. Like
Yeah.
vintage was normally like a class we would combine with something else to
Yeah.
make like a bit of a field. We try to have at least 6 riders in every heat that we run. And in order to do so, sometimes we have to combine classes, and then you look for classes that are somewhat similar in speed.
Yeah.
And we had to do that more in the first year than we needed to do that like last year and this year.
Yeah.
Now we have more classes which can stand on itself, which is awesome. And our newbie and rookie class, I think that's in almost every sport, that the entry level classes, they are the biggest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's amazing. Then we have we normally run maximum of 12 riders, and for those classes we often have to do like multiple heats, because we have more than 12 riders. So then we have to really make like then you actually have to qualify for the final.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah.
Normally, if we have 12 riders or less, then you're automatically in the final, because maximum of 12 riders in every final. But in the newbie and in the rookie class, it's quite common to you really have to qualify for the final. It's not a given, which is good, because that's what racing is all.
Yeah, excellent. And how many laps are you running now? Are you doing like 10 lap races or?
Every
No, normally we do like 6 laps for a heat race. 8 laps for a final. Except for we have like this system similar to the UK, where we combine inter and pro to make like somewhat of a level playing field for all the riders. We think if you are in the pro class, you should be able to get some extra exercise in. Last time out, I think we did 15 laps in the final.
Oh yeah, cool.
So that's on like 450 meter tracks.
Yeah.
So it gives it's not like the US where you have like 10-minute races or something, but it gets somewhat close.
Yeah, we're not doing that either. We're doing maybe four heats. First one's 6 laps, next one's 10 laps, next one's 15, and then the last one's 10. So, but your job, Roger, is always tricky with the timing, but I guess it's better having my laps rather than paper and pen, yeah?
if it works, yes. If it doesn't work, give me the paper, please. The first race this year, I was alone in a little cabin with the new system. I didn't know how it worked, and we thought, no, it's a computer, and the transponders are all loaded up. It works, but it didn't, and we didn't know how to use it. So we learned it, and now the last race it went well. And it's nice to see you can lean back and just click a button and it works. That's it. And when it's finished, you click the button again. That's it.
Yeah,
and,
awesome.
You can see Michael was mostly one of the fastest guys. You can see the average speeds and the timing, of course. It's nice to see.
Yeah, it is nice. It's as a rider, I find it quite handy. Some riders don't care about looking at their times and that sort of thing, but I think it's quite helpful. And then, for podcasters like myself and looking at results, it makes it a lot easier. Now I know you're using my laps, I'll be able to go on there and have a look on Speed Hive and check out your results, and we'll be able to talk about the Dutch flat track a lot more, which will be good. I'm assuming you haven't got anyone over there doing a podcast about your series yet.
Not dedicatedly. We have who has this Kloten met Motors podcast, which translates a bit like messing around with bikes.
That's the best guy.
That's the
That's the
way.
No, but he
fucking around
promotes
with
us.
bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Paul, he promotes us a lot. But it's not that he's discussing results like you are doing in your podcast or like Scotty Dubler is.
Would you guys be happy if I did that? Have I got your permission to talk about your results over there?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Sure,
awesome.
sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
One small complication due to technical issues, but also financial issues. We are not this year. We haven't uploaded any data to the Speedhive app,
No.
Okay.
but we
Yep.
can send you the results. That's nice.
Yeah, right.
No
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. Because as you know, we obviously Australian based, but we do talk about the sport as a whole. So worldwide, I probably haven't been doing as much worldwide coverage as some people would like, but
Yeah.
that's mainly my organisation skills, to be honest. But I would like to do more because we do have, I think it's 18 countries that tune in. So the more I can give people from different countries information about the sport in their country, the better. So yeah, I'd like to do that. We can
That's
fit
cool,
it
yeah.
in. Yeah, well, we can fit it in. I just, like I said, just have to make sure I'm organised and make it happen. So the Royal Enfield Cup really does interest me. I was a little bit surprised to see that. How did that come about, Michael? Obviously, something to do with the slide school that you started and some connections you've got with Royal Enfield. Would that be right?
Yeah. I started it last year. This is my second year running the slide school. It's keep growing, and I put the bikes into racing to set up the Royal Enfield Cup during the Dutch flat track races, and it's getting bigger. More riders joining. The bikes are all the same. They just have 25 horsepower. But for beginning riders, it's enough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can go to their limits really fast, and the races are exciting also.
So are
Fun to
they
see.
all Royal Enfield Himalayans? Is that right?
Yeah, the other the Scrant, the
Yeah.
411.
Okay. Yeah.
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 But
Cool.
I think the 450s are coming next year. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
there will
And so
be
you'll upgrade the bikes to the 450.
the Himalayan
Yeah.
450s for level 2 slide school, and also for racing maybe. It's
And so
it's
so
really getting big.
how are the riders selected for that Royal Enfield Cup?
They can just sign in. Most of the riders joined the slide school first. Some just did only one slide school, and then they joined the race in the Royal
Oh,
Enfield Cup.
okay.
But
Yeah,
that's
cool.
fun to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And is there prize money involved in that, or any backing from Royal Enfield that help you out, or
In about 2 weeks, there's a race in the UK, and Royal Enfield invited the top three from the Netherlands in the Royal Enfield Cup, the top three from Italy, and the top three from the UK. So 9 riders from 3 different countries will battling out against each other.
oh right,
Greenfield,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think next year it will getting bigger with races also. European Slide School Cup, it's called European Slide School Cup.
Yeah, cool. And you never know, we might have an Aussie one happening at some stage too. I know there's some interest from Royal Enfield, but I'm just think they're trying to find where to how to settle on it and where to make it happen and sort of what structure to use. I think they have quite a big emphasis on non-racers getting into racing. So rather than like finding some fast current races and putting them on it, they seem to, from what I hear, they seem to want to have sort of people that come from outside of the sport that have never raced before and hop on and try their motorcycles. Does that sort of sound right? Is that the vibe you get from them?
Yeah, flat track is still not that popular like motocross or something. So
Yeah.
you need also riders or people who just ride on the road, like in
Yeah.
traffic. They want to join the slide school. and then they want to race maybe also because it's easy to join on an oval track.
Yeah.
It's not difficult like motocross, supermoto, or road racing. So I think that it's good because the sport is growing in that way. And there are a lot of people from cities in the Netherlands also like flat tracks and basically.
Yeah, awesome. It's funny how you say it's not as difficult as motocross or some of the other disciplines, but yeah, I sort of would disagree with that. It's
Everyone
it
can
looks
everyone can ride a circuit.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks so simple, but to be fast at it, it's not. Yeah, let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
No, true.
I think Brad Baker once said that really correctly. It's an easy sport to do, but it's easy for everyone. So it's really hard to do it perfect, to do it
Yeah,
better than
yeah,
someone else. Something like that is how we put it.
yeah. And Roger, I don't think so. We know Michael races, and I think actually you said to me, Richard, last year that sorry, a year and a bit ago, that he's one of the faster riders. Is that right?
Ooh,
Ooh,
Michael.
Michael
Yeah,
is one of the fastest that we
Yeah.
have. Yes,
yeah,
yes, for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get to his level, but he keeps running away from me. So
Not
and,
always.
and yeah, so my question was to Roger, do you race as well?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
In the past, when I was much younger, I did motocross,
Yeah.
and then in several years I didn't do anything. Yeah, on the street. And a few years ago, I was building a motorcycle, and I have to weld some aluminium, and then came by our how do you call it in English?
race director.
Race director, and he welded for me, and we began to talk about the sport, and he showed the bike of his son, and I thought, what is that? Flat track? I never heard of it.
yeah, right.
And he told me that in Lelystad there were tryouts, and and I came there, I tried it, and I was sold. 2 weeks later, I bought a bike. I lowered it. Other wheels are in, and I'm now. This is my third year of racing. I'm busy with my fourth bike. First I had a Husqvarna, then a Yamaha, then a Honda, and now I have a Honda with a champion frame.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So you've gone the whole framer route and really got
yeah,
into the building side by the sounds of it.
yeah.
And
So,
is that a big part of the sport that you love? Is the sort of customization side of it?
yeah, at first what I loved in the motocross it is very aggressive.
Yeah,
If somebody can put you out the race, they say, okay, let's go. It's a better spot for me. At flat track, everybody's helping you. Even the guys who you are competing with
yeah,
are coming to you. What's wrong? Can I help you? We do also the same. It's like a family.
yeah,
It's real nice. There's no, I don't recall it, but I think there's never been an argument with people that it go wrong or that you have to talk with people. It's always good, and that's what I love. I like it so much. And the technical thing, yeah, I love it too. And now
yeah,
my girlfriend is riding. Bike is broke down. Yeah, my garage is completely filled with parts now, and I'm fixing it so as fast as possible because next week we're going to Germany for Wheels
yeah.
Awake, and I hope I get it done. Yeah, it's rules my life inmiddels.
That's it.
So
I love it.
yeah,
Yeah, my if I took the screensaver off, you would see how chaotic my shed is as well. My garage. It's
yeah,
it's part of the sport I think we all love and
yeah,
it's really interesting to hear you say about the pits and or the paddock or however whichever term you like to use, how friendly it is and like we have fierce rivals over here in our which is now becoming our pro scene. Um, but those guys all would still help each other out if it,
yeah,
came down to it, sort of thing. Even though, they might have been yelling at each other 1 minute for getting too close
yeah,
or bar banging. But that's just, the heat of the moment, sort of thing. But
yeah.
compared to a lot of other paddocks, like you say, motocross and road racing and that sort of thing. It's much happier, friendlier vibe, and it's you've heard about it on all the American podcasts as well. It seems to be right across the board in flat track, and it's I couldn't tell you why. I mean, it just seems so strange because it's
Yeah,
still
it's weird because
a
what
competitive
was
sport. Yeah,
Wichita, we are going to England, we're going to France, we're going to Germany, yeah, and then all sort of kinds of people, educated ones, not educated ones, rich people, not rich, and it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah,
And it's cool, it's nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Awesome. So, speaking of England, or was it? I can't remember. Was it the DTRA that had Scotty Dubler over there and Jeffrey Carver? Is that right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Last
that's
year,
correct.
So, did you guys go across for that one?
yeah.
Sure did. Yeah.
And what was that event like?
Like it was something else. It was
Yeah.
quite special to see. Um, it's. I think Jeffrey is called the wizard for a reason, and we
Yeah,
could now see it firsthand. And I took some lessons from Johnny Lewis when I really got started with flat track. So, and I must say, like sometimes we say to each other, we're a bit spoiled because we are used to really fast riders around us. If you go out every week with guys like Michael, with Menno, who's another Dutch fast flat tracker, but also if you go to the UK and you just randomly see John Lewis, Jeffrey Carver, it's like it seems normal. But my experience is when I progressed in the sport and became faster, 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 and then you see someone like Jeffrey.
yeah.
You're like, okay, there's still there's lots to
All
go
right.
if I will ever get there. So it's mind blowing to see at that event talking about the good vibes in the paddock or in the pits. At one point, Jeffrey needed a bike because the bike he would be riding was broken down. And another guy shows up. Here, take my Harley.
Yeah.
Was a Harley XR 750, not really modified or not a really fast bike. It was for the final. Jeffrey had no practice whatsoever.
Yeah.
Jumped on it and it was fast like hell. It was
Yeah, right.
mind blowing to see. And another example was last year we had Sammy Howard as a guest, and Michael
Oh,
has a
okay.
Royal Enfield Interceptor, and I
Yeah.
know firsthand how difficult this bike is to ride.
Yeah.
And then you put like one of the smallest person you ever saw in your life on one of the bigger bikes you can do flat track with, and he was immediately fast. Those guys, they just know how to ride, and that's amazing to see. And we were so inspired by the DTRA, the way they did it.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, that was one of the reasons we reached out to Sammy last year and said like, hey, you're in the neighborhood, because he was running the world championship FIM
Yeah.
in Europe. And this year we're going again to Greenfield, and we actually kidnap Scotty Dubler and take
Oh,
him with
right.
us back to the Netherlands, so he
Oh,
can
awesome.
announce at our race as well, because our race is 1 week after the Greenfield event.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Oh, that sounds like it all slotted into place nicely.
Yeah, we have good contacts with the DTRA. I think Michael has been racing there for 10 years now.
Yeah. Okay.
So that goes back a long way, which really helps, because then it's easy to reach out to people to make something happen.
Yeah. Well, it's all about not what you know, or it's who you know, isn't it? And it does. Yeah. If it can lift your sport up and bring more people in that might have been following these riders and commentators and on social media, it's fantastic. That's what you need to do, and it will definitely help grow the sport. I mean, it caught my attention when I saw them going to Greenfield, and I thought that was fantastic. And I thought about you guys, so it's great to hear that. Yeah, you've managed to get some ties happening there and connections, and getting to see uh, that sort of level of riding too. It's inspirational, isn't it, when you see riders like that? Like, so for instance, Jared Brook, who racing the FIM last year. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it this year, but he jumped the start, ended up on the penalty line, so went from 18th to first in like 3 laps. And the guys that were out the front weren't. They're some of our top riders, and it was very impressive. And I was sort of thinking, I wonder if that FIM experience has actually elevated his game. Because it's from looking at the FIM, even though it's quite a different rules package and that sort of thing, those guys are definitely some of the fastest riders in the world. That's why it's a world flat track series. And yeah, it doesn't look like they make Sammy's life easy. I think he's leading at the moment, last time I checked. But
that's right.
yeah, it doesn't look like he's doing it easy. So, Michael, do you race in that series at all?
Not anymore. I rode the FAM World Cup in 2016, 17, and 18. And I did a wildcard race in Germany in 2019. And I was 7th in the last race. But I already could feel the riders are growing there. Because in 2016 there were only 16 riders, and I think there are now 30 riders or something.
Yeah.
So the level is getting higher, much higher.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of Spanish and Italian riders who are really fast. And I think if they ride in the USA, they can go to the main event at least, but maybe to a podium or something at some tracks.
Yeah.
Of course, the tracks are really different in the USA. A lot bigger, a lot more clay, almost asphalt racing sometimes.
Yeah.
At FAM, it's more gravel, but sometimes you also have clay tracks.
I feel like the European riders would go well here.
There's
I think
also
a lot of
Australian rider who rides in the USA, Max Whale, Australian, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. We've got 2. So Tom Drain, who's second in the championship in the singles, and Maxwell on the XG 750, which he was in the singles. He was there before Tom, and he's stepped up to the Premier class. So they're going really well, and they obviously, like you say, the tracks are very different compared to Australia, as far as most of them are blue groove up and sort of clay car tracks. Most of ours are, as in our world, you call cushion tracks. So on our series, actually, they've really changed it up. We have an oil track, which is probably closer to an American clay track, I guess. I've never raced one in America, but I imagine it would be similar. And we have one that we were on last weekend, which is our sort of deeper track for the series, and then one which we have on the 27th and 28th of October, which can be in between. It can blue groove and it can sort of stay loose. So it just depends on the track prep and the weather and all that sort of thing. But we've sort of got a crossbreed of tracks here, and I believe there might be a couple more rounds coming in, which is awesome. And if they're on the tracks that I hear, I'm not going to say where they are just yet because nothing's been released. But if they are on the tracks that they're saying they are, it's going to be totally different tracks again, which is awesome for any series to have, as different surfaces. I think that's for me, that's a big part of the attraction of the sport, is trying to figure out the tracks. They're forever changing, and then when you go from one venue to another, and you might look at a bird's eye view of a track and you go, oh yeah, it's just round, and then when you actually get there, it's turn 1 and 2 are totally different from turn 3 and 4, and the tightening up and you're on the wall and all that sort of stuff. So it's awesome to have quite different tracks. You were saying earlier that you've got the TT. Is it only the one TT at the moment?
In the Netherlands it's the only one. In the UK you have the Greenfield. You have Greenfield Oval and you have Greenfield TT. They have a lot of tracks there. at Greenfield. So yeah, in Spain you have some TT tracks also, but yeah, in Netherlands we only have one. In Germany there are no TT tracks. A lot of oval tracks because there's a lot of speedway.
Yeah.
And they ride on the speedway tracks a lot. So yeah.
So which
Only
one's your
one.
biggest? Which one's your biggest track? And we'll stick to meters if that's okay, because that's what my brain works in. Yeah, what's your biggest
Same
track,
here.
and how many meters is it?
That's
In the Netherlands, it's Roden, which is speed
Oh,
center
600
Roden.
meters.
It's 600 meters. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, right.
and in Germany, the longest I rode was 800 meters, so like a half mile.
Yeah.
And there are tracks that are 1 kilometer.
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah.
and that's also in mainly in Germany. We
Czech
were
Republic.
supposed to have a race in Czech Republic, yeah. But it didn't go through, so that was a shame. All set to go, but experienced like a 1 kilometer track, which is basically adding Lelystad to a 800 meter track. So that's something.
And so are they long, like speedway long tracks, or are they horse tracks, or what are they?
Yeah,
I think
speedway.
it's
mostly speedway.
most
Yeah,
are
right.
really like gravel speedway service.
Yeah.
We rode in Mulmshorn in Germany, which was more clay-ish. But you could also just say it's a field, which
righto.
they take the grass off, and then we go from there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, righto. Yeah, so I have seen a bit of the World FIM long track and that sort of thing. So I'm guessing they would be those tracks, most likely.
Somewhat similar.
This Saturday they have a race in France at Mauritius. That's the biggest track at the FIM. It's 500 or 600 meters.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's the biggest track you've ridden on, Michael?
In the USA, at Meadowlands, it was 1600 meters.
Yeah, right.
It's
so
next
that's-
to New York. That's a
so
real
that's
horse
some-
track. Yes.
Yeah, so that's a mile. So and how did you find that? Because I believe it's quite a different sensation.
Yeah, it was scary. Yeah, it was just all the time full gas in fifth gear or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for me it was surviving.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you were on a single then?
Yeah.
So
450 Husqvarna.
Oh, okay. So and is that what you ride most of the time, a Husky?
No, I ride on the Royal Enfield Interceptor, the twin.
Oh, yeah.
Normally it's a 650, mine is now 865. So it's a hooligan track. And I'm also riding a 450 TM Italian bike.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know the TMs.
pro
We
club.
do have them over here, but they're not very common. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
motocross enduro sort of side of thing, there's a few of them, but yeah, they're not really.
Two-stroke. You see a lot of two-strokes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, Husqvarna and KTM probably dominate our flat track. I think at the moment, everyone seems to think they're I think horsepower out of the box, they're sort of pretty up there, and just a competitive bike straight away with that. Maybe you change the ECU, but that's about it. And maybe a pipe, but they seem to be really dominating over here. Honda and Yamaha are probably next, and then I haven't seen a Suzuki in a long time. So they're lagging, but they're lagging behind for some reason.
Yeah, you see that in every sport, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? What's going on there? So how's your spectators growing since the beginning? Like, are you getting actual sort of fans following your series now? Do you get people turning up to just watch the racing and they're not competitors and not related to competitors? Have you seen growth in that side of things?
It depends on the track.
I think it's most online. On the track, we are not really focusing on it right now.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit growing. people know Grosstrack in the north of the Netherlands. So when we have a race there, they also gonna watch because they find it. They think it's interesting after a couple of years. First year there was no one coming, but now they like it. But I think it's more online on social media. It's growing, but not really on the track right now. A little bit, but
Yeah. So do you have some ideas for improving that? Is it something you do want to improve, or you're more rider focused and just want to see more riders coming?
yeah, we're still focusing a lot on the riders.
Yeah.
So everyone can ride and have a good time.
Yeah.
But of course, in the future, it will be nice if there are more spectators. Yeah, we can try it with magazines, with journalists who can come or maybe join a race also.
Yeah. And
I think that's a good one.
so you guys go across to the DTRA. Are you finding some of those riders are coming across for your series? Is that started yet?
Few guys are coming.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we're there, they mostly are interested, but a little bit, I don't know, maybe you have to cross the North Sea, of course. Maybe it's money, I don't know, but people are interested to come to Holland to ride here.
Yeah,
so
right.
I hope that in the future maybe come more. That would be nice.
Yeah, maybe someone needs to start up a bike hire system so they don't have to transport their bikes.
Yeah.
And just jump
Something
on
like that.
something like that. I know there's an Aussie rider that would definitely hire a bike if there's one
Yeah.
available.
I think he is in this call.
I think you're correct. My middle daughter, well, I think my eldest daughter was already living there when we were talking. Richard lives in Tame, just out of Oxford. And my middle daughter's just done a bit of a trip around Europe. She's coming back next week, and I really wish I could have come with her. But hopefully soon in the near future, I'll be able to come over and visit you all. It's definitely on the cards.
Oh, cool.
Darcy, let's make this arrangement. If you come over here, we'll sort out a bike for you. No worries.
Oh, all right. Well, that makes it a lot easier.
There's always a Royal Enfield waiting.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm racing actually last weekend was the first time I've raced it, an XG 750. It's pretty much standard. It would fit right into your hooligan class, I imagine. The only thing I've done is I took the old pipe off, I put a little slip on, put some 19-inch wheels on it, and some actual German handlebars. I've forgotten the brand. I think it's CLS or CSL. I can't remember which way around it is. And it's just learning. I'd already had the chain conversion, so just learning what I have to do to get results on it. Obviously, twisting the throttle a bit harder helps. But I was actually listening to some footage that I'm editing at the moment, and the guy that was way out front, his name's Matt Davies. He's a ex-road racer, raced professionally, everything, and he's a gun rider, so he made it look easy. But I just noticed the tone of the engine and the where it was sitting and the revs, and the rest of us just didn't sound like we were up there. So I think my gearing could be a bit of an issue. It might be a bit tall at the moment. So I'm going to adjust that and see if that helps. Otherwise, I won't be coming to the Netherlands for a while because I'll be doing engine work, which will make me broke.
If it helps, the way to treat a big bike is to think it's a small bike.
Yeah.
Just send it. Just do whatever you do on your DTX.
I actually was pleasantly surprised. It's actually a lot easier to ride than I thought it was going to be. One of our heats, the track was a lot wetter than all of us would have liked it, including our DTX classes. And none of us dropped it. We all kept it on two wheels and all seeked out the dry line and kept going. But you do notice the weight a bit, but on the perfect conditions or good conditions, it's very similar sensation to a DTX, I think, and yeah, it's just having that little bit of extra confidence to like you say, send it as. I mean, I've only ridden it. I probably can still count on two hands. So, but yeah, it's coming along pretty good, and I think that track was five. I think it's about 500 meters, and my times I was nearer the end. I qualified. I finished up fifth overall, but I think I was doing like 25-second laps or something, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it's I would have maybe only been 1 or 2 seconds faster on my 450. So I think it will come pretty quick, actually. I just changed the gearing, and I've only got the stock road foot peg on the outside peg. I really need to put some grip on that sucker so I can press down harder on it, because I was at the limit. I was pushing down, and I could feel my foot slipping, and I'm going, yeah, this has got to change.
There will,
what?
there will be a lot more minor changes, because that's the beauty of it. You keep enhancing until you're there.
I think it's going to come really quick. So, what sort of bikes do you actually, since we're talking about the hooligans, what sort of bikes are you seeing the most come through? Have you got a wide range of different brands, or are they all sort of Harleys that are popping up?
Yeah, and in the UK you see Harleys, Indian Scout, Ducati Scrambler,
Yeah.
Royal Enfield, BMW Boxer. I saw it also
Right.
in the UK. And they were also fast. They were fast also.
So is that BMW,
so-
is that shaft drive, or is it a chain driven one?
No, I think it's shaft. R9T.
so-
I'm not sure anymore.
But I don't know
right.
I don't think they converted it. I think they
No.
So that's
It's really shaft.
it's a lot of bike to
handle.
Yeah.
It's also a big guy who's riding it, so
that's
yeah.
But you see some
Yeah,
Yamahas now. We had a French guy with the TDM. So
Yeah.
you see all kinds of bikes, basically.
Yeah, cool.
The hooligan class is for bikes, both 650 with a stock frame. You can adjust the subframe. That's the original regulation for it in the UK.
Yeah.
But you can see there are a lot of twin riders in Europe. So you see XG 750 Harley Davidson. Yeah, it's for twins class, not really for hooligan class, because there are not a lot of riders. Sometimes it's maybe better to just put them together for twins class or just in the hooligan.
Yeah.
Because it needs to grow again. In the UK, it was really big 2 years ago, 4 years ago maybe, but now it's how do you say that? Yeah, there are not enough riders now, so it needs to get bigger again. Yeah.
Why do you think it declined? Do you think that was due to injuries or cost of living?
Well,
or
Indians sponsored a lot of things in Europe and the UK. There were maybe 6 Indian scouts on the track.
Yeah, right.
And now Indian is not doing that anymore. So there's no twins class with the Royal Enfield bikes. But I'm also joining with the Royal Enfield in the hooligan class in the UK.
Yeah.
But in the Netherlands, we need more bigger bikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
don't have enough.
you're joining in the twins class with the 650 Interceptor, is that right?
Yeah.
And have you done much to that bike, or is it quite stock, or?
The frame is stock.
Oh, right.
The engine is maybe as good as Johnny Lewis house, almost.
Yeah.
Quite as fast. It's now 650. So if you have a customized frame for this bike, then you can ride twins with it.
Yeah,
I think it's a good bike for the twins also.
Yeah. So do you do the engine work yourself, or do you have a motor builder that works with you? Or?
Yeah, Royal Enfield dealer helps me with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I've got a contact, and he seems to think that those Enfield engines are actually really good to work on, and quite easy to modify and increase the horsepower on. So
It's also easy to buy a big bore kit. You have a big bore 750, but you also have a big bore 865.
yeah,
And you can just order those things
yeah, right.
to make it a real good engine.
And they're air cooled, aren't they? They're not water cooled.
No, no air cool. Yeah,
Yeah, so
they
that
now
makes
have
these.
the yeah. You see,
Yeah,
they now have the 450 Himalayan. That's the first
yeah,
water cooled bike from Royal Enfield. That's 40 horsepower, same like the Interceptor.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
So when you tune it a little bit, you can also join the pro class with it against the
yeah. Okay.
450 motocross bike. Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny when you're talking about horsepower because here the XG is only 45 as well, and I think talking about the KDMs and Husqvarnas and that the 450s, I think they come out with like 50 stock now or something like that. I think it is. I could be a bit wrong on that. Have to fact check that, but yeah,
yeah,
it's sort of funny. It sounds gutless, but it's yeah, it's actually, I don't know. I think the power delivery is pretty good. It could be increased a little bit, but my
yeah.
ability is probably not there anyway.
The most have 60 or 65, I think. So
Yeah, yeah,
450.
If you do some work to the engine, you can bump it up to around 60 quite easily on the 450s then.
Yeah.
yeah. And so your riding's been improving, Richard. I've seen you've been on the podium a few times.
Yeah, that's true. True. Try to improve every year, improve the bike, improve myself. As I said, we try to make a habit out of it to go to Spain for some practice in the winter to keep the racing going. Yeah, so racing is just a hobby, but it's quite a serious hobby.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I think that's also reflecting in the way we do things with Dutch flat track. It's all fun. It's just um, an amateur event,
yeah,
but when it comes down to the racing, we're serious and competitive.
yeah,
Um, and that's basically also my personal approach to things. I Every time I go out on track, I want to improve something. 2 weeks ago, I went to Germany for a practice weekend on a 750-meter track. I really wanted to do a longer track this year. I haven't ridden a long track yet this year, so I went out there. But I noticed they have this really tiny speedway practice track next to it. I recently bought a Honda CRF 125. I'll bring that one just for fun. But in the end, I did a few sessions on that small track with the CRF. And people were watching me like, the hell is he doing? Because at the end, I was like sitting on top of the bike, just leaning it all the way in. And it's funny to do, but it's also really good to enhance your technique and to improve.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, even at those moments, I try to combine a bit of enjoyment with actually improving my riding abilities.
Yeah, right.
And thankfully, sometimes that shows in results on track as well.
And how did you enjoy the longer track?
Yeah, that's always awesome. As you said before, I really like riding different tracks, several types of tracks when it comes to surface or shapes, but also the length of the track. You know, I can really enjoy that small speedway test track or practice track, or a track like Lelystad, which is not even 300 meters long.
Yeah,
But going on a long track, especially with a bike, I have a Ducati to the long track with. Yeah, hearing uh, a twin like that stretch his legs, it's something else.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the speeds you reach, and I only try to imagine how it would feel like on a mile, because I already had these close encounters with the air fence when I closed the throttle a bit late, and some people behind me were like, "That was really close," and I was like, "Yeah, I thought so." Because you have to look away, you have to
yeah.
throttle it,
That's right. You don't want to look at it.
extend it, never hesitate, never doubt. But then you kind of miss how close it actually became, and then trying to find that limit. This was quite a narrow track. measured it by just stepping. It was like 15 meters wide, so it's not that wide at all in the corners.
Yeah.
And so after that's like a 300 meters straight, then having like 15 meters to slide into and make your turn. Yeah, that was somewhat exciting to do. And a fun thing, a buddy of mine, a German rider, Andreas Steinhover, he was so kind to let me have a go at his really race prepped Harley XR 750. First time I rode one of those. Legendary bike, of course. He has one with a night frame, which is also really cool.
Yeah.
And that was just fucking sensational. That was
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah, how good it felt compared to a stock, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, my Ducati is basically a sort of a hooligan bike. It's a stock frame and it's kind of rigid, and you really have to push it into the corner, really force it. And at one of the turns, there was this hole developing all day long. And my line was basically around the hole and then squaring off the corner, going through the inside. So I wanted to do that on the Harley as well. And first 2 laps, I kept hitting that hole, and I was like, I'm doing something wrong. What is it? But actually, what I did was giving the same amount of input as I did on my Ducati. But I found out that this bike actually rides as good as my wood Rotax that I also have.
Yeah,
it's a fake wood, but it's still a framer, and that bike just turns on itself. You know, it's just if you think about going, it's already turning, and that was the same on this Harley, but then with twice the horsepower.
Yeah, right.
really cool to do. I'm really thankful to have that experience now as well. Maybe I'm a bit spoiled. I probably will get poorer out of this experience. I'm afraid for the consequences. But Andreas also liked it because this was the first time he actually got to see his bike ride and could hear it from the outside himself.
Yeah, okay. So, which is
I basically had to do it. There was no other way.
It's quite a weird experience, isn't it? When I actually quite enjoy watching other people ride my bike, just because when you're on it, it's totally different when you're on it riding it yourself to actually watching it and hearing it from a distance.
I totally agree. One time Michael rode my Ducati on Rode, which is also a longer track, and I was like, "Whoa, it sounds good. It looks good because, well, let's face it, Michael goes around a bit faster than I do, so it really looks good." And it was like, "This is actually a really cool bike."
I was also a little bit scarier at that time.
This is where you don't have to be too honest, Michael.
It was my first time on a big bike with a stock frame. Now I'm used to it, and I really like it. But it was the first time, so it was a little bit scary.
So something I taking from the whole conversation actually, and when you talked about the American riders, is the importance of being adaptable, like being able to adapt and hopping on a different bike. Do you guys agree that that's a pretty important part of being a good racer? The quicker you can adapt to a new bike, and the better. It makes you good on your bike as well for when track conditions change and that sort of thing. Would you agree that's a good skill to work on?
Yeah, totally. Because sometimes if we have like a practice day and it starts out a bit wet, normally I think all 3 of us, we are one of the first to go out there, and some people are like, "Why are you crazy? Just wait a second. It will dry." And it's like, yeah, but sometimes when you are racing, they don't wait for you. So the racing goes on. So you have to go on track. You better have some experience. So totally agree.
Yeah, fantastic. So goals and expectations for the future. What would you like to see, or you're happy with where it is now at the moment in the Netherlands?
World champion, of course.
I like it, Roger. I like it. I like someone that aims high. Beautiful.
Can we still join?
What say you?
Can we still join at this age?
Hey,
oh,
come
yeah,
on.
Sorry.
No, my
Sorry,
my goal now.
Roger.
I'm no, I'm used to it. So my goal with
Tell
the
you
new
every
bike
day.
is the goal with the new bike is to become as fast as I was with my old bike, or even faster. Yeah, the guy in the gray shirt is my aim. So yeah,
Right, targets on your back, Richard.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually looking for some extra ponies in my engine right now to keep ahead.
Yeah,
So in other words, you're looking for every way to cheat legally.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I think that's also nice. The goal is to keep improving, and as soon as Roger is trying to improve or Michael is trying to improve, I don't want to fall behind, and
No,
that's
no.
Yeah,
something that a large proportion of the Dutch flat track riders are trying to do. So what you see every year is the level is raising, where I think earlier this year, maybe last year, someone came to me, was riding the rookie class, came to me and was like, "This rookie class is fast." It's like, yeah, better get used to it. So it's like, it's the bar is raised every year again, and that's because
yeah,
there's a large group of riders that they see someone else do something and they try to copy it or improve it even, and
yeah,
that's I think that's for Dutch flat track that should be the goal as well, to just keep improving the level of the riders, the amount of riders, the amount of tracks we can go to, the amount of spectators that we attract.
yeah,
Nothing. I think if you overdo it, we saw this year as well. Some people have been organizing races in other countries, and after a couple of years they stop.
yeah.
I think it would be a nice goal to achieve, to make steadily incremental improvements in a way that we can do this for a really long time and still enjoy the racing.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like a good strategy. Yeah, slowly but surely.
And
Yeah.
hopefully someday we will be as professional as the AFTN, because if I look at the footage from over at your place
Hmm.
with all the camera angles and the interviews, and it looks really professional how things are approached in Australia.
Yeah, and it's in its infancy.
It
It's
doesn't look like
still
that.
yeah, which is fantastic to hear. That I'm sure that Dave Maddock, the promoter, uh, will be delighted to hear that comment. Because that's what he's striving to do, and he's they're doing a great job. So there's always learning and room for improvement to make the events run smoother, which they run pretty good. Uh, yeah, I just think it will keep growing, and as long as he keeps, he feels the passion and keeps wanting to do it, hopefully that will be just keep improving, and we'll eventually have some sort of broadcasting for it or something like that. That would be fantastic. But yeah, it's come a long way in a short time. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit worried that, like, if he does get burnt out from doing it, that it will just drop off. But I hope not. Because it's a lot of work that he has to put in, and I'm not sure how big his team is behind him, and the support that he's got. I know he's got good support, but as you guys know, it takes a lot to keep it going at any level. And yeah, when it looks that good right from the back, from the get go, to raise it, you just think that the amount of work that goes into that is going to be even more so. So yeah, hats off to him, and they're doing an awesome job. I love being part of the series myself. It's a good atmosphere, and yeah, we just want to see it grow, just like in any other country, and see more spectators. It's funny. I'm driving around in my car, and I live out in the country, so it's a bit quieter here. But every time I go in towards the city, and I just see how big the population is, and I just keep thinking to myself, 2 to 5%. If we get 2 to 5% of these people tuning into our sport,
Yeah.
we're going to be laughing.
Uh,
Yeah.
So how do we do that? it's
if only everyone knew how much fun it is.
yeah, that's right. No, I think that's what I'd like to see with, like I said, it's in its infancy, and you can't expect too much too soon. He's got the professional look down to a T. I mean, that's part of what he specialises in. That sort of event organisation, and that's Prize Activation is actually the promoter's business name, and that's what they sort of do, event organising and pumping in for displays and all that sort of stuff, and they work with some of the biggest road teams in the world and that sort of thing. So he's got a lot of skill there, and I think that shows. Yeah, it shows through 100%, which is fantastic. I would like to at the track to bring sort of outsiders from the sport. I'd like to see a little bit more of a. I don't think carnival atmosphere is the right word, but something to sort of draw them in to, and then they come for like a market stall or something that's along, and then they notice the racing, and then hopefully a percentage of that crowd that you've brought in realize how great the racing is, and then you've got a new fan base building. That's I sort of think might be an angle to get those fans in, because that's sort of we're at the first two rounds that we just had last weekend. There was a good fan base there, but yeah, I definitely think it can build even more, and the atmosphere needs to grow a little bit, but yeah, like I said, it's very new. We'll get there.
How many people are coming to as a spectator at your races?
I don't have exact numbers. I would say there was. It's quite hard to tell, but I would say there'd be 100 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. It was spread out around the track. There might have been more. It was hard to say. At this track, you can park your car up on the bank as well. There were cars, so that's there could be people sitting in the cars. There were people sitting. It was beautiful weather. They were sitting on the back of their utes and that sort of thing as well. But it's just quite hard to when you're busy racing yourself and filming. What I do a bit of filming and that too. It's sort of hard to get a really good count on how many people are actually spectating. But and quite often crew and family, when the racing happens, come out from the pits and go on the banks, so they can sort of distort who's actually a paid spectator and who's crew and family. So it's a hard thing to gauge. I mean, I guess the easiest and best way to get a true gauge of it would be asking the promoter of how many you had through the gate or how much money you made over the gate. Would give us a true indication. But the next two rounds that happen, I think Brisbane's probably one of the better tracks for attracting spectators, and that's where we were last weekend. The next one, it could be hit and miss. I'm not sure. I think the year before there might have been 50 to 60 up on the hill.
Okay.
But hopefully we just keep improving on that. It's the marketing of the racing is definitely a skill, and I don't know if a sole online digital campaign is the way to go. I think if you can get flyers in the local area and that sort of thing would definitely help. On social media a lot of things get skipped, but because the world on social media is so huge. I find when I did a bit of promotion for my series, I was only spending a couple $100, but on bumping the posts and all that sort of thing. But I think you could get into the thousands, tens of thousands of dollars before you actually see traction of it pretty easily. So I think that's something that needs to be really looked at for promoting any event for any promoter anywhere in the world. If you're just solely doing social media, I think you probably need to look at going a little bit old school and making sure wherever the track is, the local community around it have it in their face. So posters in the shops and that sort of stuff. And I think if you do that, you'll definitely get people turn up because. For instance, our accommodation was 5 minutes from the track, and we were in the local shops and that buying our groceries, and you'd have no idea the event was on, So, and when we were in those local shops, it's a highly density populated area. And there's hundreds of people walking around there. You only need to catch a small percentage of them, and you've got an extra 20 to 40 gate sales. So yeah, I think the marketing of our sport's a pretty big aspect that gets overlooked at the moment, and a lot of it is because organisers and obviously you have to have a product first. So rider focus is always the number one thing, and then getting spectators is usually secondary. But but it's also plays a big part of growth to the sport because if you're a promoter or a club, that once you start getting money in, the opportunities to expand become a lot greater. So
yeah, that's true. That's also our experience. If you have a lot of spectators, then a lot more can be done on the event, and the possibilities grow quite rapidly. And it's funny what you said. Like if you do the old school marketing, we have I think one or two clubs, the owners of the tracks where we race. They are really enthusiastically marketing, like with flyers and posters and whatnot. Like our previous race in Siddeburen, the TT track, there's hundreds of people there.
That's crazy.
And it was every year. That the whole town is coming over to
fantastic.
See what we are doing, and that's largely part to their efforts to make everyone aware. If you go to the local grocery, there actually is a poster on there. It's that's basically what can be done everywhere and what really helps. But we see that like a couple of years ago, you had a few races where they made, as you said, like an event next to the racing itself. So it was like a motorcycle festival.
Yeah.
So you could look at special bikes, you could buy merchandise or clothing or whatever, and there happened to be a race as well. So there was this whole event, and it was free to spectate, so people could just ride on their bike, enjoy themselves during the day, drop in for the festival, experience that there was also racing coming on, and then hopefully stick around for a bite and something to drink. The only thing that was missing from how you described it is we were unable to retain those that fan base. That's
okay.
They got away again.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe
that's all right.
we can retrieve some of them.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the be all and end all, like the ultimate answer to drawing new fans in. It's just an idea, and your feedback there sounds like that it does have a flaw. Why didn't those people come back? So, but I think creating atmosphere for the spectators is a huge part of it, and that's why I'd like to see. There's so many motorcycle brands and new entrepreneurs coming out with merchandise and that sort of stuff focused around our sport. It'd be great to see like a dozen marquees where the spectators can walk through and have a look at that stuff, and also the riders can go and buy stuff at the track if they need it or want it, and that sort of thing. It just creates a bit of an atmosphere other than just the racing, So that's what I'd like to see improve here. But like I said, this is the second year full season, so it's very, very new, really, when you look at it like that. in Australia, and it's already been classed a national championship, so in its second year of running. So that's by our controlling body. They've given it Australian championship status. So that's fantastic. I mean, that's a huge achievement in 1 year to be able to gain that. And that's obviously drawing in some of the best talent around Australia from some other disciplines as well, because that's when you're at the top of your sport, you want to be a champion. That's a pretty big driving thing for a lot of these guys, and some of the young guns that do road racing and that sort of thing, and obviously we all know the connection with flat track and road racing. So yeah, it is elevating, and I'm really looking forward to the next few years, because I think it's just going to change even more and grow even more, and hopefully. So my goal always was to have a platform for professional races in Australia, because it's something I love a challenge, and it's something that people have always said can't exist here, and yeah, we're seeing that change happening right before our eyes at the moment.
Mm.
And being a part of it's fantastic. So, yeah, I pay my riders, and I'm still very proud of that. And it's not always easy, but technically we can say we've got pro riders in Australia. And it puts a huge smile on my face. And
Mm.
even the riders, slowly adjusting it. I think they don't even realise what's really happening at the moment. That we're changing the face of the sport. So, yeah, it's awesome. It's really exciting, and it's
Yeah.
great talking to you guys and hearing, that sort of um, your series is becoming established, and you've got people coming across from the UK, and you've got interests all from around Europe. By the sounds of it, sure you've got some Spanish riders coming across too to have a play with you guys, and fantastic. And the FIM starting to get a little bit more attention now. It's something I
Yeah.
took note from when you were saying before, Michael. I doubt that many of our listeners actually realise how long the FIM flat track's been going, because when you were saying, I think 2016, 17, 18, 19, I think I might have
Yeah,
only started tuning in around maybe 18, 19. So, yeah, it's
yeah,
been
it's
going
much, much.
a lot longer than people realise, I think.
Yeah, I think it's older. It's started maybe in 2012 already, but it was
Yeah,
a world. They called it a World Cup because it was not that big. And since 2019, it's called a real world championship.
do
So
you think we'll ever see it come to some other countries, or do you think it will just stay in and around Europe, as that's a little bit more convenient?
yeah, it's FAM. You know, uh, FAM is like an organization. They're doing their own thing, and you just have to wait what's happening. It's got some American riders join because the sport started in the USA, so they also know everything about the sport.
Yeah.
So they can help the FAM a little bit, and I hope the FAM will listen also to them to get it bigger, to get more American riders, or maybe from Australia, other countries in Europe, more races in Europe or outside Europe,
Yeah.
bigger tracks, hopefully maybe a twins class. That would be nice if there is more than a motocross bike for flat track, because we all know there are a lot of bikes which you can flat track on. So um, yeah, so I hope it's growing that way,
Yeah.
but we will see. Yeah.
And what are your feelings on the electric side of stuff? Have you seen many electric bikes, Stark Vargs, come through your ranks at the moment, or it's
Uh,
mainly combustion engines?
Yeah, you see some different companies with e-bikes. Also in the UK, they are joining sometimes. If they have fast riders, they are also going fast. So I think there's a future, and it's very difficult in the Netherlands to get more tracks because of environmental problems, because of too much noise.
Yeah.
So, and that's also in Netherlands, Belgium, Germany. But in Germany, you have maybe 20, 30 speedway tracks.
Yeah, right.
So that's a lot. And in France, we have also a little bit more tracks. But in the Netherlands, it's not much. Especially, it's all in the north of the Netherlands.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's also when we're talking about spectators. Flat track is still new.
Yeah.
Flat track is still new in the Netherlands. Even the first race was in 2008. So there was a first race in the Netherlands. But still, it's a new sport
Yeah.
for a lot of people, and that's because I think in the past, oval racing started in the USA with flat track. Then it came to Europe, and it started. It was not flat track, but it was speedway.
Yeah.
So you still have a lot of clubs in the north of the Netherlands who are still organizing grass track or speedway races for 100 years or something.
Yeah.
And they still have a lot of spectators. You also see that in Germany. You see a lot of speedway, grass track also. There's also a world championship of grass track racing. But flat track is still new. And what I said, the clubs are organizing it for maybe more than 100 years.
Yeah.
So every year, the same people are coming from the same village. They're always in small villages, and the whole village is running out when there's a grass track race.
Yeah. Right.
So at some tracks you see more than 1,000 or 2,000, maybe 3,000 spectators.
Yeah, fantastic.
But for
Be great. It'd be great to get a few of them to your events, wouldn't it? A few more of them.
That would be nice.
Yeah, so we have the race in Sittard, like Richard said. We have the most spectators there, but that's also because a few years back they organized grass track racing for maybe 50 years or something. So the same people who looked at grass track racing in the past are coming to us also.
Well, I think it will slowly happen because they're very. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're very similar discipline, similar but different. But I think from a viewing side, it can be just as exciting. I have followed grass track a bit before, European style grass track, and that can be pretty exciting because it's so rough and bumpy are they still mainly just man-made bumped out sort of tracks on the day, or are they over in your way? Are they actually built like stadium sort of tracks?
Stadiums?
No. Most tracks are like they're on a surface on a facility that is used for multiple purposes during the year. And then twice a year they build the track. And actually a few clubs that share equipment, for instance, like the fencing around the track. We've been looking for some fencing for our event in Noorderloos as well. And we found out if you call one, then you actually already reach out to 3 or 4 of them because they share the fence.
Okay. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So that's no, grass track is there are some permanent tracks, but build up for the specific
mate. Yeah, right.
They organize only one race in the year. So you can't practice on those tracks. They're just like a village party for the people there. It's most of the time they're horse tracks or
ice skating. Yeah.
Ice
so
skating.
In the winter they do on the same track ice skating. They let it flow with water, and then you have ice there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So are you guys going to whack some studs in your tires and start doing a bit of winter ice racing?
Good idea.
Would be nice.
I have a set readily available in my in my garage. Yeah.
It's something you see from America and some of their ice racing during the winter, and Canada and that sort of thing. And yeah, it looks fantastic. Looks very scary. Yeah, I think I'd be nervous, but I'd love to have a go at it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the grip you have with the studs.
Yeah, actually, Roger, I was thinking before, how do you race and do the timing? Do you have an offsider that helps with the timing while you're racing, or how does that work?
This year I didn't race at the Dutch flat track. I did only the timing because in the beginning of the year I had a crash with my old bike. I had a few broken bones, and the first race I couldn't ride because of the injury. So I said I will do the timing, and the second race was the same, I think, still injured, and then I thought, well, for me the season is all gone, so let me do the timing this year, and next year we'll see how we do it then, and we know how to do it, so we can somebody learn it, explain how it works, and then I can ride.
Yeah, so Richard and Michael must be really appreciative that you got injured and
Yeah.
someone could do the timing.
We thought it might happen. It happens so often that Roger gets injured, so it was just a matter of time, you know.
Well, if I was Roger, I'd be very nervous going back on the track because everyone will be trying to make you fall off, so you keep doing the timing.
No, I think with the bike that he has now and the confidence that he's building, I think I will see more of him on track than and in front of me than I might go.
Okay,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
me too.
great.
Me too.
Yeah, there's nothing like good competition.
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, so injuries actually can be very helpful sometimes, not to the injured rider, but to, clubs. And that's how I started doing a bit of commentating because I was injured and I wanted to still be involved in the sport. And I'm sure you can relate with this that, doing those sort of roles it's not the same as racing, but it still ties you in with the sport and makes you feel part of it. And I highly recommend to any injured riders to stay involved and talk to your clubs and promoters and help them out. And because it's appreciated. Every extra set of hands definitely makes the job a lot easier. So, but I guess it's a double-edged sword getting back on the bike. Then if you get in a role, especially like timing, which can be hard to find people to replace the person that's learned how to do it, and if you're doing a good job, so I guess I've just contradicted myself.
We actually have this problem with people that are helping out as a flag marshal. I think we are down to 7 or 8 current riders who used to be just flag marshal. So
okay,
we're running dry all the time because people are watching it and they're like, "Whoa, this is really cool. I'll have a go once." Once you get on the bike, you never get off. So
that's right.
It's one of our issues. If we invite new people, get new volunteers in to help out, sometimes we lose them to riding.
You need people. You need people who don't like the sport. You need just pick people from a soccer track or a football field.
Actually, what really would help if we would have more youth riders, because with youth riders comes parents, and parents can help out.
It's mind blowing how we're miles away from each other, but we all have the same problem. Like, it's crazy, isn't it? It's a worldwide problem. Getting officials and getting helpers, flaggies, and some of those, some of those other, which you think are minor roles, but really a flag marshal is a major role because they can help prevent injuries. And without them, you can't race. So they're very important roles to fill, and they've always been a difficult thing. Our club that I race with here, the Dirt Track Club, they've tried many different ways. The threat of you won't race if you can't produce a flag marshal. That sort of thing. Obviously, they rotate them so that your parent or your spouse actually gets to watch from other points as well of the track. But yeah, they've hired local fire services. Yeah, they've taken all sorts of different approaches to solve that issue. But yeah, you hear it everywhere in the world. It's the same problem. So it's crazy.
We had this one race in Germany this year where I think they had this study project going on, because I've never seen that much. Well, I don't really know what their occupation was during the day, but
Yeah.
from the local fire department and then the youth
Yeah.
fire department, I think there was like 20 or 13,
Yeah, it's
20 or
crazy.
30 boys and girls over there, like all 16, somewhere in between 14 till 18 years old.
Yeah.
And they were helping out with everything. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they did this, but it comes quite handy to have that many people around.
Yeah. Yeah,
You saw them
fantastic.
everywhere because they were wearing the fire department
Yeah.
gear. So yeah, it was kind of funny to see. There was the one event where I don't think they had the issue of too small amount of helpers. I think they even got to the point that they were like, what do we have for jobs left
Yeah.
to do? Because there were
Yeah.
a lot of them.
You got to keep these people busy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're getting bored over here.
so how? Because I think when we spoke last time, Richard, the youth class was very small. Has that grown a bit? You said you still want more youth riders. Obviously, you want to grow every class to maximum. But yeah, are you finding more younger riders coming through, and what sort of
Well,
setup are they
yeah,
allowed to run?
sometimes we can attract a new younger riders, but we keep we keep having the issue that it's a really small amount, that sometimes we don't even have a youth class.
Oh,
It really
okay.
depends on what else they are doing. I don't think it's. I think that's also a worldwide problem, that children have multiple sports that they're not only interested in but also are practicing. So
And more
sometimes,
cheaper.
Cheaper,
yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Racing is the one that falls off the table the easiest because of
Yeah.
expense.
Yeah.
And I think there was this one boy that was really good, really fast, but he was also pretty good in motocross, and now he somewhat is doing basically trying to become professional motocross rider. So he's now
Yeah.
focusing on motocross. So that's, sometimes we lose them in that way, but there's still some interest, and we try to make it more interesting. We have special youth prices, so entry fees are also lower for children. So we try to do whatever we can, not only to attract like the parents to maybe they want to help out, but yeah, the main goal, of course, is to have a new rider base coming in. I think it would be really cool to see the same like pyramid shape in flat track as you see in ball sports like football, hockey, whatever,
Yeah.
where you see that like the small teams are the large proportion of the club members, and
Yeah.
then there's this pyramid shape where the pros are like the
At the
elite
top.
club.
Yeah.
That would be a nice goal, but we're far from it still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Righto.
also because we are riding on the harder track, the gravel clay tracks, and there are really a lot of children who ride grass track racing, but they ride with knobbles, with enduro tires.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes you can ride with small bikes on gravel tracks with small tires. That's not a problem, but yeah, it will be better to ride with maybe a moped tire.
Yeah.
Just other tires like sort of road racing tires, but then very small, and that's also
So what
difficult
is
for the most of them.
do you have trouble getting dirt track tires over there and say like the 17-inch and for the junior bikes? Is that the sizes you're running for the junior bikes, 17s or?
Um,
Depends.
yeah,
Yeah, so
17
for
in the rear. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so over here, our 85cc class. So in our AFTN series, we have 85cc juniors, and they can also have 154 strokes. So, you CRFs. Um,
Yeah.
and we have a 250cc junior lights class, which obviously is a full size bike, so they use 19s. But on the 85s, they use 17s. So Maxxis do a 17-inch. That most of the guys use the Maxxis over here because it's quite hard to get other brands. But yeah,
That's strange. We can't get any Maxes here. 19 inch also not
Yeah, it's
not
really
possible.
hard.
The
oh
only
really?
brand we can get here is Mitas. We can get it here easy.
Yeah,
Shinko,
yeah,
Golden Tire maybe, but that's it. We can't get Dunlop. We can't get Maxis anymore,
yeah,
or they are very very expensive to get them out of the USA or UK.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Right.
but
What?
yeah,
Yeah, I wonder why that
we need to
is.
look.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I think
interesting.
we need to look at the 17-inch flat track tires. Maybe that's a possibility for the youth riders, like you said.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
know over here we've got quite a few riders that are pro having a control tire. Um, I don't know how I feel about that, mainly because I am an importer, and you don't want to be pushed out of the competition if someone else gets all the candy. But I mean, if uh if a brand comes on and says they'll give money to the series so that their tires are control tire, then I'm on the other hand, I'm happy that the brand's putting money into the sport. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think there's any easy solution. But as far as being able to get stock, it's even here with our Maxxis. Um, we have problems with the Australian dirt track tire supply as well. That the most common tire is a Michelin um, X, and they're the tire everyone wants to use. It's definitely proven to be the fastest tire, but sometimes you just can't get them. Um, and I've noticed already in the dirt track tires, it's starting to happen a bit with the Maxxis. They sell out pretty quick,
Yeah.
and yeah, it takes them a wee while to replenish. So there's a bit of a back order, and then yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. Then once they're on back order, and other suppliers they've got them on order, and yeah, it's very hard to get them and distribute them. But yeah, people I have noticed are stockpiling a bit, and it sort of seems to be what's happening. But the DT4 has become a lot more common here, obviously being a control tire for the AFT in America. A lot of
Yeah.
people have gone that way, but the Maxxis for our tracks seems to be one of the top picks. It's either a DT4 or a Maxxis in the soft compounds, which is CD3 in the Maxxis, and I think
Yeah.
is it F. I think it might be F5 in the Dunlop. So yeah, it's interesting. And the cost of living over there, have you felt a change in cost of living? Do you think that's affected the racing at all?
Yeah, I think yeah, that plays a bit of a role as well. Also, over here you have high inflation, or in recent years you have high inflation, high energy bills,
Yeah.
and that must have had some impact, especially if you want to get started with racing. The entry costs are expensive, but I don't think we lost a really lot of riders due to it. Although I think that's also pretty common in well, especially in Europe in racing. What you see a lot is that people are owning a business or self-employed, and then they have the possibility to go racing.
Yeah.
And if economy goes down and business is slugging, then yeah, I know for I think already 5 Northern European riders who didn't stop racing but slowed down on the amount of events they participate in because they have to pay attention to what pays the bills.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
it plays a factor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting because yeah, our 19 scene is growing, but yeah, definitely the inflation is affecting people. Yeah, you have to, people are talking about skipping events that they wouldn't normally skip. And because we have the two setups, there's becoming quite a full calendar. So I think, yeah, people are becoming a little bit more picky on what they're doing. Um, and yeah, rightfully so. Like you say, the first priority is always family and making sure that everyone's eating and living a comfortable life. And yeah, sometimes racing has to take the second seat to that, I think. But
Yeah.
as much as I'm pretty sure everyone in this call uh, would like to see racing at the top all the time. And our garage is full of bike parts and our house full of bike bits. So yeah, sometimes reality kicks in. We have to listen to our families and because
true.
yeah, we would be very lonely racers otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right.
It's
And
one
I
of
think
the
that's
it's one of the things that when you get a little bit older, your children are gone, so you have time and money for other things like
Yeah,
racing.
yeah, yeah. It is quite a nice part of life. I'm getting to that side
Yeah,
as well, and
yeah.
yeah, every time my youngest daughter is doing very well in Australian football in the women's league. And every now and then she says, "Oh, I'd really love to," because she's quite good on a motorcycle. "I'd really love to come racing." I go, "Oh, you should just keep concentrating on your football. It's fine. You don't want to get injured. You don't want to get injured. And plus, if you start, then Dad has to stop."
Yeah.
Yeah, the others,
Yeah.
they all have to pay for themselves. They're old enough now, so. But
yeah.
yeah, females in the sport. Do you have quite a few female riders? I know last time we spoke, you had a couple. Have you seen any increase in the female riders?
I think we do see an increase over there.
I'm working
Yeah,
on it.
Yeah, yeah.
there's,
Michael's
yeah,
partner. Yeah,
there's this funny thing going on. Michael is capable of attracting influencers like Instagram influencers to join the Royal Enfield race, but they have one thing in common, and that's they're not men and they're not ugly.
all righty.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know Michael's marital status or anything, so I'm going to be very careful of my choice of words here. But so
Yeah.
you must
We
have you must be
we are.
charismatic, Michael.
No, I also organized a ladies race, and I want to do that with the Royal Enfield bike.
Yeah.
So next to
Yes.
the Royal Enfield Cup, we also do a ladies race on the Royal Enfield bikes, just to get more women into riding into flat track, because yeah, those are easy bikes, not very aggressive,
Yeah.
and yeah, everyone can ride it. So
Yeah.
we try
And
to
if
attract more.
and how's that going? Do you get a good response from the girls? Do they come off loving it and want to do more? Do you find they're going into other classes after they've done the Royal Enfield thing, or is it just they come
Yeah,
experience it and then disappear? What's happening with that?
yeah. Some did a slide school and bought just another bike to go flat track racing. Some are
Excellent.
still riding the Royal Enfield Cup, and now in ladies start we try the ladies race for the first time, and there will be I think 6 riders, so two women in the Royal Enfield Cup, three women, and 6 in the ladies race. So
Yeah,
I think that's good.
fantastic. And
Yep.
what's the common denominator? Their partners race, or if they ridden motocross, or how do they come across the flat track and get involved?
Yeah, like Richard said, some are influencers, so they just ride in traffic or do some track days on the circuit on
Oh
asphalt.
yeah,
Some doing motocross, but I think the most of them are just new riders, and yeah, from traffic, from riding in traffic, and just
yeah,
joining a sport what is easy to do.
But also girls who have no experience whatsoever,
Yeah.
and just try it,
Also,
Yeah,
buy a
awesome.
bike and go on.
yeah,
Really nice.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And
Yeah.
so you still at your events, you still have quite a good, I remember when we talked last time that there's quite a good social atmosphere after the racing too. A few beers are shared and a bit of
No.
is that sort of happening, or is that,
No,
do you
never.
think that's a big draw card? I think Roger might be proving a point here.
Yeah, there's some cases of memory loss involved.
Yeah.
No, the
In
after
some cases
parties
of good
are quite
memories.
good.
Some good
Yeah.
memories also.
Oh,
Yeah, some good
fantastic.
memories, some memories
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
No, the social part after the
Yeah.
racing is quite good. The most dangerous thing to do is organizing a race on Saturday, because then everyone can start to party on Saturday night and just drive home safely Sunday.
Yeah.
And those are the heaviest days to.
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah. No, but it shows that
Yeah.
there's a good atmosphere, and
Yeah.
thankfully the most of our riders keep it calm if there's still a day's racing to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, but once or twice, a couple of years ago, in one of the events we went to in Germany, there was quite a party as well, and there might have been one or two riders who did not participate the racing on Sunday due to they
Yeah,
were
so
king of the paddock at Saturday night, but they were not around at Sunday.
so yeah, for those riders, a lesson learned in restraint, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Next time they've got to be a bit more disciplined.
Yeah.
yeah.
How was
I
it?
always think like I can have a drink anytime I want, but when I'm at the track, then I'm there for racing.
Yeah.
So that always keeps me a bit of restrained.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice though that social aspect's still strong, and as Roger was saying earlier, the friendliness of the flat track community and that sort of thing. I think that's a big part of it. That's
Yeah.
that socializing afterwards makes the flat track community strong, and yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's probably an important underlining part of flat track racing, and you hear on the Tank Slapping podcast, Corey talks about the demographic quite a bit, and yeah, I think even like you were saying, there is quite a wide range of people
Yeah.
involved in the sport. That socializing is definitely a big part of it. Like we had some lovely accommodation and were able to provide a dinner on the Saturday night and had a few people over from Victoria. And if I thought the leg of lamb would have spread far enough, I would have invited more people. But yeah, it's just I don't know. For me, my racing is also my social life. So
Yeah.
uh, the rest of the time I'm busy with family and work and that sort of stuff. So when I go racing, I relax, I enjoy the racing, and I enjoy the company. So I think, yeah,
Sounds familiar.
that seems to be flat track, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
and I have gone to other motocross events and enduros and stuff, and it's just
Different.
it's not the same, and I
No.
can't really understand why, but yeah, it's fantastic to be part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well enjoy it because
Yeah.
it's awesome. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
it is awesome. You summed up flat track in one word, awesome. And
On and off the track.
I'm really privileged to get to speak to you guys, and it's great to have all three of you on this time. And sorry it took so long. I said, maybe in 12 months it's taken a little bit longer, but it's good because plenty's happened in that time. Have we missed anything? Is there anything else that you wanted to mention? Maybe the riders within Europe, is there is it easy for them to come and join in? Like, is the licensing the same and all that sort of thing? How could it, and like if a rider like myself wanted to come over and race, how easy is it? What do I have to do?
Pay.
Not much.
No, basically, what we have for licensing is just insurance.
Yeah.
So basically, if we think you're fit enough and medically able and physically able to step on a bike, then we can just arrange a license. And there's a fee involved, but it's rather small. A day license, for instance, if you want to participate one day, one race, it's 15 euros.
Oh, that's nothing. Yeah.
That's fairly cheap, especially
Yeah.
if you compare it to like road racing and stuff like that.
No,
And the traveling.
or
Sorry?
if you look in France, for example, it's much expensive than here.
Yeah, but
okay.
that also
Yeah.
improved. This year you can get a day license over there
Yeah.
for I think 40 or 50 euros. So
Which
that's
is still,
better.
still not
But
too
if you do
bad.
that like
Yeah.
5 times, then it's quite a
Yeah.
quite a hefty bill.
Yeah.
For just a bit of insurance, because that's what it is. They don't watch you. You don't have to perform to get a license.
Yeah.
But the traveling in Europe, basically is just one country. So you travel from one country to another without basically noticing crossing a border.
Yeah, right.
Only exception is the UK, but that's fairly easy as well. You don't
Yeah.
need any visa or other difficult stuff. No, I think the traveling around Europe to go racing is more down to, are you willing to put in the time and money and the efforts to make it happen?
Yeah.
Because there's no real restrictions, and we always try to help out riders who need some assistance in getting finding their way in how to sort things out.
Yep. And with your racing, it's trophies and medallions are the rewards for succeeding, is it? Is there any prize money or anything like that?
Eternal glory, that's what you're getting. Yeah.
And champagne.
Champagne, yeah.
And champagne. Well, that's worth a trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's funny. We had a couple of riders. There's some championships where they have in their regulations that you are obliged to go to the award ceremony in your racing gear. We don't
Okay.
have that many regulations at all, and especially these kinds we deal with a bit differently. We just hand out champagne, and
Yeah.
most bottles get uncorked, and that's the last time you change before going to the award ceremony. We had a few of them last year as well, or this year even. They were like soaking wet, and it was like, this was my only clean shirt. Yeah, should have thought of that earlier.
So there's
Well,
another similarity. Flat trackers seem to only wear what they brung, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Especially on the male side of things.
Yeah, it's like I got the one T-shirt and now it's wet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, but
okay. So
with us, there's no prize money or whatever. It's just we hand out plates or trophies.
yeah.
But we have some sponsoring from Motul, for example. It's through Michael. And if you're first or second or third, you get something extra. That's nice.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
We always use the number plates 1, 2, and 3 for every class.
Yeah.
We know a company who can make those plates, so I'm always sending a document or a PDF document with the number 1 plate, number 2, number 3. Sometimes in different colors with the class on it. And since I'm running the slide school, I also have a connection with some motorcycle brands like Rapid, who has ladders for road racing also. So they like it to sponsor just a little bit for the podiums. So just some merchandise, some caps, some T-shirts. Motor is sponsoring some spray cans, things like that. Just little things, but you have good companies who want to give something. So I think the connection is good to get it bigger in the future.
Yeah,
But
no,
we don't have real sponsors for our series, but just for the podiums.
yeah, okay, yeah, right. So that was a third place award that you just held up, Richard.
Yeah,
A number
yeah, yeah.
plate there.
That's one of those number plates that we have. I'll
Yeah,
put it in front of my
fantastic.
face, and maybe you can see it.
I should
It's
focus in
blurred.
a minute. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, all right, great. So if a rider from anywhere in the world wants to come over and do some racing with you guys, the best way to contact you is through your website. Would that be right? Or through Facebook, Dutch Flat Track?
Through the website.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
easiest.
email.
Email.
Yeah.
there's multiple ways to do it. We have a
Yeah.
website. There's a contact form. You can find our email address over there. Web address is dutchflattrack.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
Google Dutch Flat Track,
Instagram is
you'll
easy.
And the rounds, sorry, are always conducted through the summer months. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's as always, it's weather dependent. So our summer is or our season is a bit longer than the summer. We intend to start around April and end around September. Yeah, and then even then we sometimes struggle with weather, but
Yeah.
basically that's the season. Sometimes if weather allows it, you can start some practicing in March already.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, I think before the owner of the Lelystad track, he's looking to keep the track open all winter long as the weather holds out. If it's freezing, then you can still ride because it's dry.
Yeah.
And we sometimes did it, but well, last winter was
Right.
kind of wet over here, so and it didn't work out. But yeah, the racing season is basically between April and September.
April and September. Yeah. So if you're listening in, tuning in, and you want to go over to the Netherlands and join in the fun, April to September, put that in your diary and yeah, book it in and go over and join the guys in their racing. And it sounds like a blast. I do really am serious about coming over. I do want to come over and meet you all in person and check it out because
You're
it's
welcome.
something. Yeah, thank you. Something else that I have done, well, as you know, I did a bit of racing in New Zealand. I come from New Zealand. I didn't race in New Zealand when I lived there. And, the times that I have traveled home and managed to race, it's been absolutely fantastic. The last time was actually flat track too, which was even better. And the funny thing I found is they raised the Australian flag for me. And
Mm.
I'm like, guys, I'm actually still a New Zealander, but appreciate it. So when I got my new levers made, which I wore for the first time last weekend, I thought, blow it, I'm putting the Australian flag on the arms. So I put the Australian flag on there. So when I'm traveling there and racing anywhere overseas, I'll be representing Australia. Sorry, New Zealand,
Cool.
but
Mhm.
I actually
You're
have
an Aussie now.
yeah, I actually have lived here longer than I've lived in New Zealand now, which
Oh.
is quite bizarre in a lot of ways. But yeah, so when I race, I represent Australia. This is my home there. I can't see me going back to New Zealand. So yeah, but I am looking forward to coming across at some stage. And yeah, obviously the American trip is definitely on the cards as well. We've got quite a few Australian families traveling over for uh, the Am Nationals in America that have already been run and won, and they impressed the field is one way to say it. I think they dominated definitely at the first round and right throughout. So it's great to see our global racing family moving around and starting to intertwine a lot more. And as you all know, it's only going to help grow the sport even bigger
Yeah.
once we all networking together even more and supporting each other and supporting each other's races and yeah, as we've talked about throughout this podcast, it's very, very obvious to me that we're all very like-minded. That's what attracts us to the sport and makes the sport so great. And yeah, if any of you ever want to come over, I've always got bikes available, and if my bikes are broken, which is more often than not, I'll make sure there's one that's usable.
Awesome.
So
It'll be nice.
yeah, we've been
Cool.
going 2 hours, guys, which is yeah, fantastic for all our listeners in the mines because they love the long ones. So I really appreciate your time. I hope you've had dinner because you'll be very hungry now if you haven't.
Yeah.
That's we take care of. Thank you so much for having us, and also
Yeah.
a shout out to you, Darcy, for for getting out of bed in the middle of the night to
It
have
was
this.
definitely worth it. After our last conversation, Richard, I've been wanting to catch up with you for a while, and apologise I haven't reached out off the podcast that much either. But yeah, it has been busy times. It's like that last 12 months feels like a month. Actually, it's just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been that full and busy with the way racing's been going. So last year, actually, for our racing, I did over 16,000 kilometres of driving for race events. So we were pretty busy. We were all over the place. This year, it's been a bit less, but last weekend was, I think it was 3,200 kilometres to go racing. So over four or 5 days. So it's time consuming, So,
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
I had people messaging me. Luckily, this time I shared the driving duties so I could reply to stuff and got a little bit of, wasn't so far behind. But when you're doing distances like that over multiple days, when you get home, it's just just a case of catch up on everything. We've had massive storms
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well, so we've got trees down that need tidying up, and yeah, and I've got racing if I can get all that done, I'll be racing again next weekend. But yeah,
Right.
it's a workload, but
Yeah,
I,
it really
I
is.
love it. Yeah, I love it, and
Yeah.
thanks for that's why when you guys said you could all be in the same place at the same time while online at the same time. I thought, yeah, I've got to get up, and it doesn't matter what time of day, we've got to make it happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, and to the Dutch flat track community over there, hello to everyone. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. Because I know there's a few of you. I'm not sure it's not just Richard. He can't be just it's growing from 1% to about 3%, so it can't just be Richard tuning in. So thank you all very much, and tying this global flat track community together, and enjoy your racing. Be safe. Keep doing your builds and love the sport for what it is at whatever level you're at, and yeah, keep striving to be better because that's on the solo side of the sport, it's really rewarding when you hit the marks that you make for yourself. And yeah, I hope you keep enjoying it and stay safe in your racing. And we'll do it again. Catch up with you guys again soon. If not in person, we'll make another podcast happen and
Yeah.
and see where everyone is in another 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
like a plan.
Yeah, great.
And let's keep in touch. Thank you so much, Darcy. Hope to speak to you more sooner than than a year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like you said,
yeah.
if you're planning on coming over, just let us know. We'll do the same.
I've got some big plans on the cards. It just depends on on a few things falling into place. My time frame is 12 months, but it might be pushed out to a little bit more than that. Will just depend. But yeah, definitely want to see everything keep growing, and yeah, as we just been talking about this whole episode, just keep things growing and keep making the contacts and tying the sport together. And to me, that's the way that it will be absolutely huge and create more opportunity for the riders that want it, and still create opportunities for the riders that just want the social amateur side of the sport. Just growing the sport in the total is the main objective, and I think with me coming over and taking footage and meeting you guys in person and being able to bring that back to our Australian riders, hopefully you'll see some of our community starting to come over for trips and riding in your series as well. And prize money's not everything. It's just a little bit of an incentive if it can help pay for someone's trip, if they think they can take the top step. Uh, but yeah, it's by any means it's not the be all and end all. I think for a lot of our Australian races, especially the ones that I've spoken that have gone to the US, the whole experience, just meeting the people, racing in different country, racing on the different tracks, is enough. Enough to make the money spent feel worth it. And every single one of them that I've spoken to is going back. And I think that would be great. It's the same with me with New Zealand. I want to go back and race the guys again. And I know that when I come over and race you guys, it will be the same feeling. And I hope that more people catch the travel bug and look at experiencing different countries, racing in different countries, because it's a blast. It's almost like the extreme side of our sport. It elevates racing for you again to that next level. Like when you travel around your own country and you race new people or people that are new to you, never raced before, it always helps elevate your racing. And then when you start taking that global, it just elevates it again. And it's an amazing experience if you are lucky enough to be over to make that happen. And your circumstances are good where you can earn enough money to do that. Or if your circumstances aren't that great, look, I would seriously think of how can I change that so I can have that experience, because you won't regret it. So look forward to doing it, and meeting you all in person one day, and hopefully Roger, you'll be fit and healthy and you'll still be racing. We'll get to have a battle too, and you won't
but
be
I'm
behind.
racing.
You won't be behind the timing.
It's gonna be okay.
Same to you, Richard. Hopefully that target you've got on your back doesn't cause any race bingles or.
No, I'm sure we'll be okay.
It's all clean racing. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
of
it
course.
is.
Yeah.
That's
Fantastic. Fantastic, guys. Well, thanks once again. As you all know, our slogan, keep it sideways, go flat tracker.
Okay, awesome. Same to you, man. Keep it sideways. Thanks so much.
Go flat tracker. Go flat tracker. Go, go, go.